Good morning, Prep 2. Today we will continue our syllabus that we missed in Prep 1 from lesson 3 with title Motion. Firstly, what is the meant by motion? When we said that this object at state of motion, we observe that the object can change its position from one place to another place from time to time. This means that the object at state of motion. According to what? What is the object that determines the motion of the object? To understand which I say, let us show this example to determine what is the meant by motion. If I have two objects, object A and object B. B, it is a fixed object that used to determine the motion of another object which are in its motion state. A, it is a movable object, can it change its position from time to time. So object B, observe that object A, it change its position after 2 seconds and also change its position after 2 seconds. So object A at state of motion. Why? Because it can change its position. It can change its position from time to time. According to what? According to a fixed point. Point B. It is a point that can determine the motion, direction, and describe also the motion of the object. It is the meaning of motion. So, what is the meant by motion? It is a change in the position. It is a change in the position of the object. According to what? According to a fixed point. Or has another name, it is a reference point that used for determine. Determine what? Determine the motion of the object. Again, what is the meant by the motion? It is a change in the position of the object according to a reference point. Again, what is the meant by reference point? It is the point that can determine the position and the motion and the direction of the object. Okay? Second part in this lesson is talking about all the motion we can observe it in our daily life are similar? No. I mean, the motion of the train, motion of the car, motion of your body in the street from home to school are similar to each other? No. Why? Because each object move at different speed. Means, what is the meant by the speed? To understand the meaning of the speed, let's show this example to increase understanding about the speed. If I have two objects, object A and object B, object A can move 20 meters in 2 seconds, so it can move 10 meters in each second. Okay? And I have second object, it is the object B, can move 10 meters in 2 seconds. So it can move 5 meters in 1 second. When I ask you which of the two objects A and B has a high speed, or which of them faster than the other, you can answer me object A faster than B. Why? Because object A, it can cover 10 meters in 1 second and object B can cover 5 meters in 1 second. So object A is faster than object B. It is the meaning of the speed. It is the speed. It is the distance covered in 1 second according to number of meters that covered in 1 second. I can determine the speed of the object. From the definition of the speed, I can determine the measuring unit of the speed. What is the measuring unit of the speed? It is the meter per second or kilometer per hour. That we will study it in prep 3. So the measuring unit of the speed, meter per second. From what the measuring unit of the speed derived? If you wanted to know, for increase your knowledge. In the previous example, in object A, the object covered 20 meter in 2 seconds. So it can cover 10 meter in 1 second. From which this number are produced? From the division between 20 meter over 2 seconds. 20 over 2 equal 10. So this object cover 20 meter in 10 meter in 1 second. So its speed 10 meter over second. Meter over second. I can write it in another form. Meter per second. Per second meaning it cover how many meters in 1 second. It is the meaning of the speed. From this unit I can know what is the measuring unit of the distance. Distance, it is the length. So I use any measuring unit for length, like meter, like kilometer, like centimeter. Okay, any problem here? When I ask you, what is the mean by the speed of the motion equal 50 meter per second? You can answer me, this means that the distance covered in 1 second is what? Is 50 meter. So this object can cover 50 meter in each second. Second part in this lesson or third part in this lesson is talking about the relative motion. What about the relative motion? To understand what is the meaning of relative motion, let us show this example. If I have two cars, me in car A and you in car B. The two cars have the same direction, move in right direction, and move with speed 50 meter per second. And the other car or car B move also with velocity or with speed 50 meter per second. This means that the two objects have the same direction and have the same speed. If you sit at car B, you will imagine that the two cars, my car and your car, stop moving. The two cars at rest without any motion. It is a relative motion, but it is not real. Why? Because me and you are in the same direction at the same speed. So the two cars at motion state. But you will imagine that the two cars at rest without any motion. It is a relative motion. So the relative motion, it is not real motion. Another example to describe the relative motion. If me at car A move in this direction with velocity 5 meter per second, and you at car B move in this direction, opposite direction to me, at velocity or speed 10 meter per second. When you sit inside your car and start moving beside me, you will imagine that the other car or my car A, move at high speed. Although I am a low speed, I have a low speed 5 meter per second, but it is a relative motion. So the relative motion, it is the non-real motion. Now, what is the mean by the relative motion? It is a change in the object position or direction from time to time relative to another object. This object can be at rest or can be at motion state. Again, what is the mean by the relative motion? It is a change in the object position or direction relative to a fixed point or movable point. So the other object can be moved or can be fixed. Can be fixed or can be moved. It is the meaning of relative motion. Again, it is a change in the object position or direction from time to time relative to another object. This object can be moved in the same direction or opposite direction to you, or can be fixed. Okay? The next part in this lesson is talking about the types of motion. What's the two types of motion? We have two types. The first one, it is the translational motion. And second one, it is the periodic motion. What is the difference between the two types of motion? Translational motion, it is the motion of your body from home to school, or it is the motion of the football player when kick the ball. It is the motion of the ball. So transitional motion, it is the motion that has 2 points. The first point is called a start point, and second is called the end point. It is the transitional motion. So it is the motion of the object relative to a fixed point from time to time between 2 points. The first point is called start point, and the second point is called end point. It is the meaning of transitional motion. Miss, can you give me an example for the transitional motion? Yes, we have some examples like the bicycle motion, car motion, train motion, person motion, like the motion of the ball when the football player kick it. Why? Because it has a start point, it has and has what? End point. So it is the transitional motion. So when I ask you, give reason. Transitional motion, it is a relative motion. You can answer me because it is the motion in which the object can change. The object can change its position or direction relative to a fixed point. Relative to a fixed what? Relative to a fixed point. From time to time between 2 points. The first point is called the start point or initial point. The second one is called the end point or final point. Any problem here? The second type in motion, second type of motion, it is the periodic motion. What about the period in language? The meaning of period in language, it is the repeat itself in equal interval of time. Like what? Like the motion of the moon around the earth. We know that the moon makes complete revolution around the earth every 28 days. So every 28 days the moon makes complete revolution around the earth. Another example, like the motion of the earth around the sun every 365 and a quarter day. So it is a period of time in which the object can make a complete revolution and repeat itself. Again, like the motion of the electrons around the nucleus, it is a periodic motion. So the periodic motion, it is the motion that repeat itself regularly at equal interval of time. Okay. And this type of motion don't have the start point nor end point. Don't have initial or final points. Okay. Give me an example about the periodic motion. The periodic motion has 3 examples, like the circular motion, vibrating motion, wave motion. The first one, it is a circular motion. Like what? Circular motion, like the motion of the moon around the earth. Moon around earth. Number 2, earth around sun. Like what? Like electrons around what? Around the nucleus. So it is a circular motion. Second one, it is a vibrating motion, like the motion of the pendulum You know the pendulum? It is found in the old clock. The pendulum at rest can move right and return back, can move left and return back in equal interval of time. So when the pendulum move from point A to point B at 5 seconds, it can return at 5 seconds and move to the left side at 5 seconds and return at 5 seconds. So it is a periodic motion because it repeats itself in equal interval of time and don't has initial or end point. The second one or the third or last type for the periodic motion, it is the wave motion. Like what? Like the motion of the water wave. It is the wave motion. So the mechanical wave motion has two types. The first one, it is the mechanical wave. Second one, it is the electromagnetic wave. What's the difference between two types of wave? Let us know. Mechanical wave, it is the wave that produced by the vibration of the object or vibration of the medium particles. Like what? If you put your hand on the larynx and start to talk to your friend, you will feel a vibration of the larynx that produce sound. So it is a mechanical wave. It produced due to the vibration of the particle medium. Okay? When you have a violin or guitar and start to vibrate or move the string, you can hear sound. So the mechanical wave, it is the wave that produced due to vibration of the particle medium, like the string, like the voice string. When they vibrate, it produces sound. So it is a mechanical wave. Number two, mechanical wave need a medium to propagate through it. What is the mean by medium to propagate through it? If you wanted to see the water wave, we can't see it without water. So the water, it is the medium that needed for the water wave to be observed. Second one, how we can hear each other. The larynx vibrate and produce sound. This sound, the air particles or molecules carry it to your ear. So the ear, inside the ear vibrate and hear my sound. So the air, it is the medium that need to transfer the sound of me to you. The evidence for my talk, when we are in the moon, we can't hear each other. Why? Because in the moon there are no air, no medium that need to transfer the sound that produced from my larynx to your ear. So the mechanical wave need a medium that propagates their wave. Okay? So it need a medium. And it can't travel or it can't transfer without medium, like the moon. Number three, the speed of this wave is relatively low. For example, the speed of the sound at 300 meters per second. So it is a relatively low. Okay? Please give me an example about the mechanical wave. Like the sound wave, it need an ear to carry the sound that produce from the larynx to your ear. Number two, water wave, it is a wave that need water medium to be observed. Second type of waves, it is the electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves are produced from the combination of two energies, the electric energy and the magnetic energy. So it is electromagnetic waves, it is combined by what? Combined by the electromagnetic force, because it produced due to the combination between the two energies or two forces, electric force and magnetic force. This type of waves or this type of wave motion can propagate in the space and doesn't need a medium to propagate through it. Please give me an example about the electromagnetic wave to understand what you can see. What you can see, like the light wave. We can see the light of the sun and the light of the solar explosion and the light of the stars in the sky. Although the distance between the earth and this star is so large, extremely long, but the light wave, it is electromagnetic wave, doesn't need a medium to propagate. It can propagate in space between the earth and the sun, or between the earth and the other stars. So we can see the light of the sun. Why? Because it is the electromagnetic wave, doesn't need a medium, doesn't need air to propagate through it. But if I have a medium, electromagnetic wave can propagate. We can see the light of the lamp. Why? Because the light of the lamp, it is the electromagnetic wave, so it can propagate in space if there are no medium, or if there are a medium like the air around us, the electromagnetic wave can propagate. And the speed of the electromagnetic wave is so high. The speed of the light in space equal 300 million meter per second, or 3 times 10 power 8 meter per second. Give me an example about the electromagnetic wave that can propagate in the space without need any medium, like the light wave, X-ray, radio wave, infrared, UV, ultraviolet, TV waves. It all types of the electromagnetic waves that doesn't need a medium to propagate through them. Okay? So when I ask you give reason, we can see lightning before hearing thunder, although they occur at the same time, because lightning, it is the electromagnetic wave, doesn't need a medium to propagate through it, and it has a high speed, 3 times 10 power 8 meter per second, so it can reach, or it can be observed faster than thunder, which is a mechanical wave. It is a sound wave. So it is a mechanical wave that need a medium to propagate through them, and it has a relative low speed, 340 meter per second. Okay? The second question. When I ask you give reason, we receive the sunlight and we don't hear the sound of solar explosion. Yes. Why? Because the sunlight, it is the electromagnetic wave, doesn't need a medium to propagate through them. So it can move in the space between the earth and the sun, and also can propagate in the medium, in air. But we can't hear the sound of solar explosion that occur in the space. Why? Because it is a sound wave, so it is a mechanical wave that need a medium to propagate through them. So we can't hear the sound of solar explosion. Any problem here? I will see you in the next meeting. Thank you for listening.